Hello, it's 1 o'clock, so let's get started. It's Nahid here. Welcome to your your midweek soothe session. For this session, we're going to get on the floor. And let's start on your back, and you'll have your arms long and your legs long. Great. And lying on the floor with your arms long and your legs long, just notice how you land. And notice if you were lying in sand, which I have been, how heavy would you feel on that sand? And what parts of you would feel heavy? And when I talk about heaviness and weight, I'm only ever talking about the bones, just so you know. And let your breathing be easy and smooth. And you're breathing in and out through the nostrils. So on the inhale, the belly expands, and on the exhale, the belly retracts or it falls. But it's really easy. It's kind of like an inhale, belly expands, exhale, belly falls. So it's that kind of lovely movement. It's very soft. So you're not using your external abdominals to kind of push and pull. You're not using the stomach muscles to push and pull. It just expands and it retracts just super easily. And just notice how you are today. How are you feeling? How are you breathing? How was your morning? And of course, in the UK, we've just had a bank holiday, which makes everybody feel really happy and kind of want to go back and change their life in some way. Because I always think we all really ought to have 3 days off for a weekend, 4-day week. I'm all in favour. All right, from here, could you very slowly come onto your front? And you're going to stack your right hand on top of your left hand, and you're going to let's turn the head towards the right. So you're going to place your left cheek on your hands. So right hand underneath, left hand on top, left cheek on your hand. So you're turning to the right, yeah? Hmm. And then from here, could you please bend your knees? So you're going to bend your knees so that your lower legs are standing, yeah, up in space. And your heels are together and your feet are together as much as you can. Bring them together. And then really slowly go a really small distance. You're facing towards the right. You're going to take your legs a tiny bit to the right. You're going to bring them back up. They're going to stay joined together. You're going to take them a tiny bit to the left. And then you bring them back again. So a tiny bit to the right and you bring them back, and a tiny bit to the left and you bring them back. And just do that a few times. Do that a few times. And notice your bones and how they move. So your lower bones, of course, are moving through space, but notice your thigh bones and how they move in their hip sockets to allow this movement. Notice the movement of the front of your pelvis on the floor. And you'll notice that one side gets heavy as the legs go to that side, and the other side gets lighter. And then that transfers weight across the floor, across your pelvis to the other side, so that you're doing one thing and then you come back and then you do the other thing and you come back. And it's really slow. Make sure that you're slow so that there's no sudden move, so that the legs don't suddenly flop over. Yeah. When you take them into gravity, it's much easier than bringing them back because you're moving against gravity. So that requires more heft from you, maybe more muscle tone, more effort for sure. All right, let that go. Let your legs come down and just rest. And you can turn your onto the forehead if you like. And then just notice how you land and how you breathe. And then from here, take the left hand down on the ground, the right hand on top. Turn your cheek so that your right cheek is on your hands and you're turning towards the left. Bend your knees again, knees together, ankles and feet together. And just very gently again, start to tilt your legs to one side, bring them back to the other side and bring them up. Go to the range that's easy for you. Because if you go too far too soon, it's going to cause a bit of a judder up the spine, but also you soon go out of control, don't you? And it's so interesting to me that somewhere along the line, we have learned to put a lot of effort into things. So when we move, it's almost like we're sensing through effort, but actually there's so many other kind of qualities that you could adopt in movement. And probably the most interesting one, or the two most interesting ones, are getting really curious about how you plan things. And it's kind of you strategize way before you move. You kind of hear my words and your brain kind of whirs and clicks and kind of figures out what that could mean. But we generally don't give it enough time, and we'll use effort, and then we'll kind of yank something. And then you think, oh, my back, or I didn't enjoy that because you weren't going at your speed. It's so interesting because we can respond really quickly because we have to. Um, but to undo that just takes a little bit of time. So we need time in these lessons. All right, let that go. Let your legs be long. Turn onto the forehead so that your neck can get a bit of a rest and just have a bit of a rest from that. And in fact, I'm going to turn you onto your back. So roll over onto your back, arms long, legs long, and just notice how you're left, how that felt, what residue that has left in your system. And I often say this, but the more I teach, the more I think that it doesn't actually matter what you do, it's the residue that it leaves, the after effects that it leaves, the state you're left in afterwards. I think that's super interesting. Okay. Notice on your back how being on your front has clarified your back. It's sort of very clear how the points of you that are on the floor. Maybe you feel that you've sunk down a little bit more. Notice what you notice. And then roll onto your front again. And this time, take your legs about sit bone distance apart. Bend your knees and then have your feet come together. You're going to place your right hand down, your left hand on top, and turn towards the right. So your cheeks on the right. Your knees are apart, your feet come together. And then very slowly, could you tilt your legs a little bit to the right and then bring them back? And the left foot can slide a bit along the right leg. So it can slide down the right foot and down towards the right leg. Don't forget, I'm doing the opposite of you. So it's that kind of movement. There's a rotation through your leg bones. Can you feel that rotation in the hip joint? And where else can you feel it? You're just going to go to the right. So it might feel like you're tipping over to the right because you also turn to the right. And just notice all the things that are happening on the floor in terms of change of pressure. So that's weight transference. As you tilt the legs a bit to the right and then you come back and you tilt your legs a little bit to the right and then you come back and you tilt your legs a bit to the right and then you come back. Great. From here, pause exactly as you are. Keep your feet together, but your knees stay the same distance. We're going to change it and we're going to take it in the opposite direction. So now the legs tilt a little bit to the left and then they come back. So notice I'm not going really fast. It's a really slow movement and I'm sensing this movement as I go along and I come back. And I sense this movement is very gentle. And then I come back. It's soft and it's slow and it's super gentle. Nice. And then notice how this movement travels up through your spine because you're doing something interesting here. Head is turned to the right, but your legs are going to the left. So there's a counter rotation and you're going to meet that somewhere in the spine. So where do you meet that? You know that your head is turned to that way. You know the legs are going that way. You've got to resolve that somewhere up and down the spine. So your pelvis will tilt in the same direction as your legs. Then your lumbar bones might somewhere along the spine. is the place where there's a bit of negotiation, where then the bones of the spine have start to rotate in the opposite direction to allow for the head to rotate. Can you find that? Where is that? Where do these two different directional movements, where do they meet in your spine? Can you sense that? Next time the legs come up, let that go and come onto your back. Let's go all the way onto the back. Let your legs be long and your arms be long. And just notice those first few breaths that you take as you come to lie on your back. Notice what parts of you are moving with your breath now, or what parts of you you're more aware of moving with your breath that perhaps were a little bit fuzzy before or unknown, unfelt. And notice where maybe you've let go to the floor a little bit more. You've allowed yourself to soften, you've allowed the bones of you to drop into the floor. And notice where those changes are through your whole system. Great stuff. And then roll over onto your front again. Turn your head towards the left, left hand down, hand on top. And then your legs are sit bone distance apart. So the knees are apart, and then you bring your legs together. So return to the left. Let's go towards the left and just notice that movement through your legs, through that tilting and rotational movement through your spine. How does that kind of manifest itself? And just notice how you breathe. And notice how you organize yourself at the beginning of this movement, throughout the movement, as the legs come back. What has to happen to let the legs go over and for you not to roll over? What are you doing in terms of counterweight? You could look towards the ribs at the front of you. You could look towards your shoulders at the front of you. And then pause in the middle and just kind of take stock. And then from here, super slowly, could you tilt your legs to the right and slowly bring them back? And tilt your legs to the right and slowly bring them back. And just do that a few times so that you really have a sense of how you organize yourself to take the legs in the opposite direction. And just do that a few times. Great stuff. Next time the legs come back up, leave them be, let your legs come down, roll over onto your back again. Hmm. And notice the space across your chest and the space across your ribs and the width of your pelvis. Maybe your leg bones, heavy bones, maybe they just drop down. Heels have dropped down. And notice how you breathe. Is it more effortless? And notice how you breathe. And notice the space in your throat. Maybe your jaw has dropped away from a holding pattern. Generally, quite a lot of us clench the jaw onto the skull. I actually don't think I know anyone who doesn't do that. So we want to always clamp it shut. My resting position of my jaw is now, I used to do that, but now it's kind of, it just hangs, and that's kind of much more functional in that you're not over efforting. So thank you for joining me. This lesson is actually the lesson from last week because I'm teaching the live this Sunday. So come along to that. I'm just about to send out the link in chat, which I'll do. So now we've caught up because there shouldn't have been a little lesson this week because we've got the live on Sunday and it changes to the new time of 6 o'clock because it's summer, almost summer. All right. Thanks so much. Give that a go and let me know how you found it. All right. Take care. Bye bye.